Yo guys, Visionary Gen here, back with more Minecraft content. In today's video, we're bringing you the full Trident guide as a part of our Minecraft survival series. This is episode 29 of the series, which we're going to detail on all of the tips and tricks of both finding, enchanting, and using a Trident to help newer players with the likes of the channeling enchantment and also Riptide for returning players as well, like myself, as a part of our all-time Minecraft survival series in completing the game, as well as guides just generally along the way in further extending this series. And with that said, let's get right into it. So first things first, the Trident in Minecraft is a rare and versatile weapon which was introduced in the update Aquatic in Java on 1.13 and in Bedrock the 1.4 that excels in both melee and combat range, as well as especially underwater where it's most effective. Now, one of the few items that can't be crafted in this game is the Trident, which is primarily obtained by killing the drowned mobs with a 6.25% spawn rate in Java and 15% in Bedrock, which of course the drop rate can be increased by using looting 3. The key stats include a 9 melee damage just like a diamond sword with the Trident, and up to 8 range damage when fully charged as a projectile, with a 251 durability and unique physics as it isn't slowed down by water and pierces entities differently, and can also activate buttons and plates, which is just a useful tip, nothing really practical. It does support 7 enchantments via the enchanting table, anvil, or of course commands, including the shared ones like mending and unbreaking, which of course repairs it with XP or extends the life durability, as well as the Trident exclusive ones such as loyalty 1 to 3, which allows it to auto return to the player after throwing, Riptide 1 to 3, which also launches a player forward in water or rain for travel. But it's worth mentioning that of course you cannot combine the two together. You cannot use channeling and Riptide together or loyalty. It has to be channeling and loyalty together or just Riptide. It also can be repaired by combining 2 in an anvil, which preserves the enchantments of course and adds 5% durability bonus by doing so, and you're going to gain a massive benefit. Of course, that is the best way of doing it unless you have mending. Of course, finding one of these just really isn't that difficult. You just need to spend a little bit of time and have a bit of patience. Of course, if you're later in the game and you have looting 3, then it becomes a lot easier, but simply just go out to the oceans, find an area where sort of drowns spawn regularly. It doesn't even have to be an ocean, it can just be rivers. You'll find them spawning in certain biomes, but just generally go down below, find as many drowns as you can and kill them, and eventually you will get one. It does take a little bit of time sometimes. As for the ideal setup using a Trident, I'd say this includes using Riptide 3 and Impaling 5, and of course mending and unbreaking for the mobility and combat purposes, or just simply use loyalty 3 and channeling and Impaling 5, as well as of course mending for the both ranged and thunder utility, which often then requires you having multiple Tridents, which is what I would typically just advise. It's all about what you're trying to achieve, and if you want to use a Trident because you're going in sort of into the oceans, then this is where you're going to want to use Riptide. You're going to gain the mobility advantage as well as dealing damage in the barrel roll effect, as well as that you're just going to simply be able to be more effective as you're not throwing the Trident, you're more so just diving into enemies and then hitting them as a follow-up, which is typically, if you're looking for damage output, I would say that is definitely the most effective method. But of course you cannot throw the Trident, which therefore lets it down. Of course you're going to get the mobility advantages by flying out of water, then combining the likes of using your Elytra, which is where it's going to be really cool and really effective and adds that animation effect. But also at the same time, if you want to throw the Trident and use it in water as a sort of range perspective, then that's where you're going to want to use loyalty and channeling. But in addition to that, channeling is really effective because if you're going to build a trophy room like I have in my world, then by having the channeling Trident, which allows you to throw the Trident with loyalty, allows you to return to yourself, and if you hit a creeper in a lightning storm, where this is effectively going to charge up the creeper, becoming a supercharged creeper, and anytime that explodes near another mob, it's going to drop a mob head of that kind. So it could be a skeleton, a zombie, or even a zombie piglin in the nether. But I will add, there's a lot of risk involved with this. So if you're on a hardcore world, please go and watch a separate guide of some sort that is going to give you the best advice on how to build a trophy room and obtain all the mob heads, because I would say I think I died once trying to do it. I was not aware of the blast radius in itself from a supercharged creeper. It is significantly larger than the normal likes of a normal creeper, and it does a lot more damage, as you can imagine, by simply just placing a block in front of yourself, hitting the creeper with this, charging it up, and then letting the creeper come close to you, whilst obviously then luring in another mob. That is like the most effective and simple method I found, but there is a lot of risk associated, so just make sure you're aware of all of those risks, especially like I said, if you're in a hardcore world, make sure you do not even attempt this unless of course you have loads of, or sort of plenty of totems of undying to keep you safe. But trophy rooms are cool in this game. It's something that every player wants in their base, especially in long-term forever worlds. We have actually had 2 different forever worlds in our server. We've had a typical one, which is a part of this main series, where we completed Minecraft by exploring all of the biomes, defeating all the bosses, completing all the structures, and finding everything there is to do in Minecraft. And now we are onto our second sort of forever world, where we have a realm, and that is what a part of the separate series that I have on the go, in case you guys weren't aware, just to keep you guys in the loop of all of the Minecraft content I keep you guys up to date with. But this purpose of this episode was to give you a full idea for newer players, and like I said, and returning players like myself. I hadn't played Minecraft Survival in over 10 years. There are so much new features to this game, including tridents that I wasn't aware of from back in the day, and this is something that I was just not aware of and fell in love with very quickly. A really cool sort of ocean monument style weapon that you want to use to defeat the Elder Guardians and just Guardians in general, and something that I would recommend trying out and just using for the most part, especially like I said, if you're a newer player or returning player, and hence why I wanted to make this guide. But in summary, I'd say this is a badass weapon, very fun to use and also effective in ocean monuments or just generally against aquatic mobs, such as the likes of Drowns or Guardians, and can be sort of effective for traversing the world as well, using the Riptide enchantment and combining with the use of an Elytra and Fireworks if you're in the later part of your world. But that's pretty much it in the grand scheme of things, guys, as a summary of the Trident. Really simple to earn and find, and also really simple to use as a weapon. It's not that effective in the likes of open world when you're using it against the likes of zombies or skeletons, but generally in the ocean environment, it is the best possible weapon you could use, and also, just like I said, it adds that badass element. Just really fun, but more so just something different, which of course is important in Minecraft. Having something different to use, just like the mace or whatever it may be, that's sort of separate from the sword and bow, that just makes it that much more better. But if you guys have enjoyed the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and comment down below any tips that you might have for like the likes of returning players and newer players for using a Trident, obtaining it, or whatever it may be. Let us know down below in the comments and I'll get back to you. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video and found this to be useful. There are other guides all on the channel linked in the description below in case you guys are interested on things like the mace or whatever it may be. So go check them out in case you guys are interested. I'm VisionSGen, and I'll see you in the next one.